Stand by for action. Anything can happen in the next half hour.
Do you ever feel like you just can't escape the heat? Well, now you can, wherever you go. Say hello to the Zero Breeze.
Wow, that's incredible! A portable air conditioner. But can it be used by dancing bikini women in a boat? That's great, but what about hip, sunglass-wearing, skateboarding teenagers at the park? Could they use this as well? They seem like just the sort of people who would want to lug such a sleek and trendy brick around with them.
Keep the Zero Breeze wherever you go. So many situations in my life have been made more enjoyable thanks to Zero Breeze.
Beautiful. That's just what I always wanted, an air conditioner for a small backpacking tent. No, that's absolutely the most useful thing ever. It's so small and easy. Why did no one think of this before? A battery-powered portable air conditioner. And it's an absolute bargain at the $800 price tag. And curiously, it then got rave reviews on Amazon by people who said how great this device was working in their mesh-topped tent. Wow, that's bizarre. If I was a little bit cynical, I might push X to doubt here. No, I've got to be wrong. These people raised $1.5 million. I'm sure the reviews will be glowing, and it won't just be some sort of Chinese glitzy-made rip-off thing. Just trying to make people think they've got this awesome new product by some glitzy marketing. Let's see what the comments say, shall we? First two comments from Jersey. Received my Zero Breeze. Unfortunately, it only turns on if it's plugged into a power source, which makes it useless for on the road. That's odd. I thought they were going to make it portable. However, even when it's plugged into a power source, it only blows warm air. Not so useful as an air conditioner then. The Zero Breeze people tell me I have to ship it back and pay for both shipping it back to them and having it shipped back to me once it's either fixed or replaced. I paid $180 for the original shipping. Wow. Hi, it's not cooling enough like before. Actually, not cooling air at all. Any suggestions or solutions? Yes, buy a decent air conditioner for 1/5 of the price. I've requested a refund for several weeks and nobody's replying properly for that so far. Where's my money? And curiously, that's a fairly common experience. If you take a look at some independent reviews, wow, the author seems to, where you can visit the store, they seem to give it a very good rating. Users, not quite so much. This is a scam. They do not deliver. Spend your money elsewhere. I hate to be pragmatic, but after 7 months, yada yada yada, uses too much power, doesn't provide enough cooling. Ordered 2 units, 2 battery packs. One of the battery packs was defective, and after repeated and progressively more frustrated requests, I've not heard back. I feel ripped off, very unprofessional, yada yada yada. So these are the two. I mean, there are some positive reviews in here, but not many. And maybe these are the sort of 2 common themes that you get. Number 1, garbage. It's total deception. The machine is heavy. It doesn't cool. It only blows air. Battery lasts less than 2 hours. Does not accept returns. Attention, yada, yada, yada. So that's number 1. It's underpowered. Doesn't do any cooling. The second one is basically they take your money, and the correspondence with customer services took almost 2 months, and with no progress, the unit's sitting there collecting dust. Lodged a complaint with PayPal, and on the case closing automatically, Consumer Services Supervisor now wants me to pay partial delivery or shipping back the battery to them. Yeah, you hear that quite a lot, that basically they want you to pay them more money so they can send you more wonderful products. So given such glowing reviews, it may not be surprising that these are the same people who say that air conditioning is going to work wonderfully in mesh-topped tents. So I guess it must be a really smart idea after all. I mean, it's gotta be great. It raised loads of money on Kickstarter.
But in 2016, we turned that into reality. With the help of more than 4,000 supporters around the world, we managed to raise over $1.6 million for the original Zero Breeze.
And there's only one thing greater than this great idea. It's the new version, which costs $1,500. But don't worry, this totally not fictitious price, due to the immense generosity of the manufacturers here, has been reduced to merely $900, which I thought was kind of illegal marketing gimmick. But hey, who am I to judge? These people have now raised almost $1 million for the Mark II. I mean, just look at all the great places you could use it in, like camping or a cabin, trucks and RVs. Now, I know what many of you be thinking, trucks have their own AC, as do most RVs. You know, they're built in and really quite powerful units. You know, not the sort of thing that would take, say, for instance, 20 minutes to cool down a little bit.
What is going on, YouTubers? Jay here from Maji and Jay. Today is a very exciting day here for myself because after a month of ordering this product here, which is the first portable AC unit to ever be built. Alright guys, so here we are inside of the Ram 1500, and right now you guys can see that I don't have the RAM turned on. Appreciate right here 104, I'm not kidding about it. And the air blowing out of this unit right now is about 94, 95, but I just turned it on a few minutes ago. So let's give it about maybe 30 minutes or so and see if this thing's really functional.
You have got to be kidding me. Most cars with air conditioning, you turn it on and seconds later, lots of cold air is coming out of it. You don't have to wait half an hour for it to slightly cool down the car.
It's been now almost a complete hour. We're here is reading 83, but the truck was at 104. So this little unit is definitely working, guys. Again,
holy smokes, an hour. Are you serious? It took an hour to cool the car down 20 degrees. Hey, Einstein, I got a great suggestion for you about how you can cool your car down by that sort of amount in seconds. Open the doors and windows. There you go. I just saved you $1,000. And if anyone feels sufficiently grateful for this brilliant suggestion that you can actually save yourself $1,000 on this sort of air conditioner, you can support this channel directly through Patreon, and I'll leave the links below. Where were we? Oh yeah, that's right. A guy gushing praise over one of the weakest air conditioners ever when he sat in a car with a built-in powerful air conditioner.
Alright guys, so there we have it for the testing of the Zero Breeze portable AC unit. This is amazing. This thing worked, guys. My truck was at about 105 degrees when I first started. 15 minutes later, my truck was about 84 to 85 degrees.
Oh yeah, this product is so awesome. I'm so stoked and pumped and hyped for how excited I'm going to be when they release the next generation.
What is going on, guys? You're here from Maji and Jay. Today I am absolutely hyped up, guys. I got the second generation of the Zero Breeze that you guys have been watching in my channel for quite a while now, and this is the temperature blowing out. So what we're going to do is use my cell phone here as a timer. We're gonna give it about 30 minutes. It definitely cooled down the truck to a comfortable temperature right now, I can tell you that. Even though this thing is reading 87, that's because I'm measuring the seat. Okay, let's check here the ceiling, 91. And let me tell you guys, I am mind blown with this particular unit. And to me, it looks amazing, it works amazing, and overall, it's a great functional product that a lot of you guys can take advantage of.
So yeah, this thing is pathetically underpowered to the point where it's basically completely useless for trucks and RVs, let alone for, well, even a small room in a cabin, which means that you're now down to the really high competition market of selling an underpowered AC for a small tent. And what the hell are these guys doing? I mean, the version 2 is made super smart, so it blows the air up in the air.
Cools twice as fast. but 40% more efficient.
Yay, that makes so much sense. Look, my left hand is slightly cool. That totally vindicates buying this thing for $1,000 and lugging its 15 kilogram AC arse and then putting it on the table like that. Now this busting is sort of different from other busting videos in that this is actually perfectly possible to do. It's just really stupid. Actually, now I think about it, it's almost in exactly the same category as everything else, like the self-filling water bottle or solar roadways. You can make these things. It's kind of dumb to do it. It's taking something perfectly valid, like, say, for instance, solar panels, then putting them somewhere where they'll generate 10% of the power, and also in an environment that will reduce their lifespan by 90%. And then for good measure, hey, whatever, just making the whole thing cost 100 times more. Look, there is nothing impossible about taking the guts out of a mini fridge, Amazon cost about $50, and folding them up into a box and calling it a mini air conditioner.
In 2014, we conceived the idea of making a true battery-powered portable air conditioner. The technical challenges were massive, and it was considered almost impossible.
No, it was considered trivial, but kinda stupid. But hey, after you told someone that the trivial was thought to be almost impossible, maybe you should tell them some more gimmicky stuff, like, this is the most powerful, awesome, small, rotary-powered, portable, blue-coloured air conditioner in the world.
Our team has been developing this product over the past 2 years, and it is the first portable air conditioner to use a rotary compressor.
And then just stick a battery on it and say it's the world's greatest small portable air conditioner.
Zero Breeze is the first of its kind. Never before have you been able to take an air conditioner wherever you go. The world's coolest portable air conditioner. Zero Breeze, the world's coolest portable air conditioner.
That doesn't change the fact that it's kind of a dumb idea. But why is it a dumb idea? Well, let's start with what fridges and air conditioners do. They all basically run on the same principle. So here you have pretty much everything you need to demonstrate how refrigerators work. So I've got a thermal camera over, well, that's the thermal camera. That's the output from the thermal camera. So my fingers are nice and hot in there. And on the screen you'll see that there are two syringes. One is almost invisible because I've not touched it. And the other one I've actually handled so quasi recently. So you can see it's a little bit warmer than the other one. You also see that I've got my fingers slightly wet, which is why tips of my fingers are cold. That turns out to be important later. Anyway, so the first thing you've got to do is you've got to take a syringe like this, and you've got to seal them off on the top. So, let's see if we can do this. It doesn't matter of melting it. As it melts, it's polypropylene, it's good stuff. There we go. That's almost perfect. So polypropylene melts at about 150 or something. So you see it's gone all clear like that. And as it solidifies again, you'll see it goes opaque. Now, the nice thing about sealing a syringe like this, of course, is it means that I can compress the gas inside it. So it's about 10 mil syringe. So if I compress it down to 2 mils or something, that means I've got a 5-to-1 compression here. So you're starting to crystallize now. And those actually are fairly strong, those seals. So they'll take up to 10 atmospheres or so. Yeah, that would be a 10-fold compression. At the moment, there's 1 atmosphere in the syringe. And if I squeeze it all down to 1 mil, that's 10-to-1. I don't think my fingers are strong enough. I might be able to get down to 5 bar. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is, as I compress the gas, what you'll see is, oh, look at that, it gets super hot. And I'm now at about 2 mils there. So, compressing gas makes it hot. Now, of course, all the time it's actually hot, it's going to be losing heat to the environment, right? Which means that when I decompress it, it'll get colder than it was to begin with. So now that we've radiated some of the heat, come on, radiate the heat away, come on. Once we've radiated some of that heat away, or it's been absorbed by the, now I'm going to decompress it, and you'll see that it actually gets cold. Now this is actually quite a nice thermal camera, so that means that if I take just a regular pop bottle, just polyethylene terephthalate, and I'm going to compress it, and we're going to see what happens to the temperature. Look at that. And then you decompress it, and it's cool again. It's because it's slightly wet, I think, on the inside. I think that's the reason for the differential temperature. Anyway, so that's basically how all refrigerators work. You compress stuff, it gets hot, you let it cool down or readjust it to room temperature, and then you decompress it and it gets cool. And that's the cool that you use for your fridge and for your air conditioner. So this is a schematic of what this looks like in practice. You compress the gas here, radiate away the excess heat, then you decompress here and it cools down. Now in practice there's some liquefaction in there too, but the general principle is still compress, then cool down, then decompress and suck heat from the environment, cool it down. This is the core thermodynamic cycle at the core of every compressor-driven fridge and air conditioner on the planet. And there's only one problem with it. Compressing that gas takes a lot of energy. So what I'm going to do is, as I compress the gas, what you'll see is, oh, look at that! Hell, even the humble fridge is one of the highest energy consuming appliances in the house. But that goes to a different level when you're trying to cool down a room or a house or something. This is why the US frequently has a higher electricity consumption in summer when it's using all the air conditioners than in winter where it's heating, but that heating is frequently from sources like gas. So this is the general energy flow of an air conditioner. You put some energy in and you get hot air out of one side and cold air out of the other. And if you mix all the exhaust that comes out of the air conditioner, it's going to be hotter than it was before because you had to put all the energy in to do the separation. So that's even before you worry about efficiencies and such like. So if you just run an air conditioner in a room, it will get hotter unless you vent that hot gas outside or something. But the core thing here is these things really suck up the power, which is why a battery-powered air conditioner is just a really, really stupid idea. Hell, arguably the only high-power consuming device that runs on batteries are electric cars. And how much do you think a battery weighs in a typical Tesla? About half a ton. And that will only run the car for a few hours. Similarly with electric scooters. They're good, it's just that their lifespan when they're actually operating, not so great. Now batteries are superb for low power devices, but for high power devices like air conditioners, you're looking at a few hours tops, which to their credit, they do kind of mention. But they also mention that the battery costs a few $100s. So Wired reviewed it like this. Zero Breeze pitched itself to me as a £14 device, but a quick spin on the scales revealed otherwise. It's actually £17, making it a pretty beastly machine no matter how hard you squint. Also, that doesn't include the massive external battery, which adds another £9 and $500 to the kit. While the battery clips on nicely to the bottom of the main unit, the two pieces have to be physically wired together with a beefy cable that must be attached on both ends with thumb screws. Later, when you want to charge the battery, it must be disconnected and attached to a gargantuan AC adapter that can feed 575 watts of power to it. You can't charge the battery whilst it's powering the Zero Breeze. Oh, this thing just keeps getting better and better. But in terms of weight, this thing clocks in at about 13 kilos, which would put it as almost the same weight as the maximum recommended backpacking weight for a sensible sized person. And that's maybe going to keep you cool for a few hours tops. So let's just take a quick look at why trying to air condition a tent is utterly futile. I mean, most people who have been camping know that it's almost impossible to stay in a tent once the sunlight hits it, because the second the sunlight hits it, the temperature in the tent skyrockets. And when you think about it, for fairly obvious reasons. I mean, let's just say it's a tiny tent with a cross-section of about 1 square meter, 1 square yard or something. The solar energy at the Earth's surface that hits something that size is about 1,000 watts per meter squared. So, if you've got a fairly dark-looking tent, that basically absorbs all of that energy and turns it into heat. And there's no insulation here, it's just a thin layer of fabric. So when the sunlight hits even the smallest of tents, it's like having a fairly powerful heater in a fairly small volume, which is why it heats up like crazy. Now, by far the most simple way to cool down in such a tent is to simply open the doors, which is why loads of tents have large doors or mesh tops or the such like, because the skin of the tent acts like a massive heater when the sun's on it. But of course, if the air circulates, then basically the temperature inside the tent will be whatever air temperature is. So a weak air conditioner like this has zero chance of actually cooling down even a small tent. I mean, even a small tent with maybe 3 meters squared cross-section would be absolutely cooked by the sun. I mean, that would be the equivalent of having something like a 3,000 watt heater equivalent inside the tent. Even the Zero Breeze boys have this demo where they say they have to run it in the shade. But further in that demo, they run it for a whole hour. Oh, why? Was the film so expensive that they couldn't afford to record it for 2 hours? Or could it just be that after an hour or so, the battery was flat? So now it's back to civilization to spend a few hours charging their $500 battery. But even at that, just ignoring all of that, basically, to get this thing to work, you have to sit in the middle of the day in a buttoned-up tent in the shade. Sure, that's why everyone goes camping. Plus, if you want a cheap way of cooling your tent down, well, there's an easier way of doing that. Water, when it evaporates, sucks in a huge amount of energy. You see, all campsites, well, okay, most campsites have access to water. And evaporative coolers are typically about an order of magnitude more efficient than compressor-style air conditioners. Add to this that batteries are one of the lowest energy storage methods of storing energy, and you'll probably get comparable degrees of cooling by spraying just a litre or so of water on your tent. Which, of course, doesn't require $1,500 of overpriced equipment. And it doesn't require you lugging almost 15 kilos of a portable air conditioner to your campsite. The power of evaporative cooling can be really quite impressive, especially when seen with a thermal camera. So in this case, all I'm going to do is take a shirt at room temperature and spray some water on it, just to show you how quickly this thing will cool down.
So you will see that the water is about room temperature. It's all about 23-ish degrees. Now I'm just going to get a bit of a spray on my shirt, like that. And you will see that the temperature drops degrees very quickly. And if I put a fan on that, it'll get even better. So let's give it a bit of a blow with a fan. I should do it. And now look at the temperature, what we're down to 17 degrees.
So you can imagine if you got a white sheet or something, or part of a sheet, and actually got it wet in a river or lake or something, and threw that over the top of your tent, that would actually provide some fairly effective cooling for your tent. Or look at it another way. If I want to take some water, about a kilo of water, a litre,
is 1 litre of water,
and turn it into a gas, that takes about 2 million joules of energy. Or to reverse it, it's going to suck in 2 million joules of energy from the environment to condense that water. Now let's compare that to the energy storage capacity of their battery. Well, their battery holds about 630 watt hours, or so they claim there. battery that costs almost $500.
With a whopping 630 watt-hour capacity,
Okay, let's take a look at that. 630 watt hours. And a watt hour is 3,600 joules, so that's about 2 million joules. Enough energy to only turn about 1 kilo of water into vapor. Which also kind of brings us on to another common complaint about these devices. You see, air conditioners, if it's fairly humid, can end up condensing quite a lot of water out of the air. So this is the demo they have on Indiegogo. Cool, they condense about 1/4 liter of water in a few hours. Finally, we have our self-filling water bottle. And we know what it takes to condense about 1/4 liter of water. But that's not what I was here for. You see, the interesting thing is, that drain there works fine when you've got something to put it on. How's that going to work in a tent? Which is one of the things that people frequently complain about, is when it's sucking water out of the air, when it's condensing some of the humidity in the air into liquid water, there's no real way to drain that if it's in a tent. All you're going to do is end up with a wet sleeping bag. And that's just what everyone wants from a $1,500 air conditioner. Yes, this genius idea of making a $1,000 air conditioner with 1/5 of the cooling power of a $200 window unit raised over $1.5 million on Indiegogo. And just like every other stinky Kickstarter, there was a formulaic, just look at all these people who have covered our great device, like Product Hunt and The Points Guys and Thrillist and Upscout and Press Logic, and you've heard of these people, right? Gigazine and Gadgetsins, Follow News, Edgy Tech, Acmoo, Home Crux, Cool Things, www.hatsnew, Internet.com, Word, and the Crowdfunding Center. Oh yeah, nothing but the top people covering that there. But not to be outdone, they essentially then ran exactly the same thing a couple of years later and raised another $1 million or so. $2.5 million. That's enough to buy about 60 1-kilogram solid gold hammers. So if you enjoyed that, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on new uploads. And of course, if you want to help out this channel, you can do it through Patreon or through my Amazon store, where you'll find all sorts of awesome little science goodies like infrared thermometers, which are cheap and awesome. Or of course, if you want the $15 version of the $1,000 air conditioner, yeah, I can get it now without supporting me on Kickstarter.